Hi, welcome to Fiberchats. My name is Irina. I'm the host of this channel, and today I have a host of another channel, Sari Nordlund. Welcome to Fiberchats.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's always fun to have another YouTuber, and we'll talk about your YouTube journey in a while. And
Yeah,
actually, we're gonna meet very soon. We're gonna spend some
yes.
quality time together in Costa Rica
Yeah,
this
that's going to be
February.
so amazing. Yes.
You guys want to stay tuned and listen more about that towards the end of the interview. But we're going to start with a little bit about who Sari Norland is and how did she become such a famous designer. So tell me a little bit about like your knitting journey. When did you learn how to knit? When did it become more than just a little hobby?
We learned how to knit at school. So I think I was like maybe 10 years old when I learned at school, but it wasn't something that I was really into back then. So I made the mittens that we were supposed to make, and I made the socks that we were supposed to make, but then I just didn't continue with the hobby. And then I picked knitting up again. I think I was in my very early 20s. I was in university, and that's when I started to knit again. So we had art history classes, and they were really boring. So a lot of my co-students, they were knitting during the lectures. So um, I started to kind of like look at what they're doing, and I got really interested. So I wanted to teach myself how to knit, and that's how I started to do it again.
Well, Finland has such a rich history of knitting and culture of
Yeah,
knitting. Do you feel like it influences you, like the culture or just like the
yeah.
you see?
I think like in Finland, a lot of the knitting that we do, or like traditionally the knitting that we did, came out of kind of like necessity rather than it wasn't really regarded as like fiber arts as it's in States. Often you talk about fiber arts, but in Finland it was kind of like a life skill.
Right.
You had to be able to knit socks or mittens or hat just to stay warm during the winter. So that was just like something that you had to do. And I think for a long time for me, I regarded it as a chore rather than as a hobby or like a way to express myself. So I think it's kind of like, on one hand, it's something that a lot of people do. So we grow up doing it. Everybody has a mother or an aunt or grandmother or somebody like a neighbor who knits. So it's very easy to learn and pick up the skill. But then again, I think I was only like in when I was in the art school and art history classes, and I saw the fellow students like the amazing things that they needed, and I that was like the moment for me when I realized like, okay, so knitting can also be this, so you can actually also make pretty things rather than just like boot socks that have to be really warm and thick and durable.
Right.
So yeah.
When it comes to your design journey, at what point did you felt like you were a designer?
Um, I don't know. I kind of like when I started knitting again, there weren't that many like great patterns available. So at least the ones that we had in Finland, they were very old-fashioned. And I was in my early 20s. I grew up reading fashion magazines, so I didn't want to make those like really boxy things. So I kind of like I started designing from the very beginning, but I don't know if I would have called myself a designer back then. It was about 10 years ago. I was on maternity leave with my son, and that was the point when I decided that this is what like designing is the thing that I want to do, and I really started to pursue that career. So sending out a lot of submissions to all the knitting magazines and trying to make a name for myself. So maybe then like for or actually for a long time I called myself like a hobby designer or like an amateur designer. So I think it's only been like the past few years that I have the confidence to call myself like an actual designer.
Well, it went from like being amateur budding designer, however you want to
Yeah.
call that, into that becoming your full-time job. And also now you have a couple books under your belt. So
Yes, I have my books here with me. So these are my two books, and I'm working on my next book at the moment.
right. So the latest book that you came up was based on Roman goddesses. Tell me a little bit
Yes.
backstory, like why are you so interested in
Uh,
goddesses?
um, the first book was with it was Greek muses, and the second book was all the names of the patterns were like Roman goddesses. One of the reasons is because we took all the photos in Rome. So that's where the Roman goddesses came from. But like I mentioned, I studied art history, so that's something that has influenced me and my style and designing a lot. So I think um, the names come from my interest to ancient arts. I find it fascinating that the sculptures can be 2 or 3 thousand years old, and we still consider them beautiful. And that's something that I like to think about when I'm designing, that it's not something that is just for now, but I would like to design something, well, maybe not 2,000 years from now, but at least 10 years or 20 years from now, people would still find my designs beautiful. And I like knitting patterns because they don't really expire. So you can find still um, knitting patterns that come from the 30s or 40s, and you can still pick them up and knit them, and they are still like very valid patterns. So that's something that fascinates me.
If somebody did dig up something of yours 100 years from now, a couple 100 years from now,
Yeah.
is there a particular design that you would want them to find that speaks about like who you are?
I think the poet sweater is such a classic. It's also the one that kind of like launched my career, and over the years, I have made like a lot of different versions of that. So I think that's something that um, I'm like one of the designs that I'm most proud of. And also, I like cabled patterns, and I think cabled sweaters are very classic, so I don't see any reason why they wouldn't still be valid in like years from now.
Right. Well, when it comes to designing, tell me a little bit, like, let me into your brain. Tell me what your process like. Do
Okay.
you sketch first? Do you wake up with the idea?
It depends. Sometimes it's like a lightning from the sky, so I get this idea and I just need to immediately cast on. Um, Usually, I'm a very selfish knitter, so I mostly designed for me. So things that I want to wear, things that when a new season comes, and you see all the trending colors and trending patterns that people are wearing on the street. And of course, everybody starts to think like, what do I want to wear this fall, or what do I want to wear this winter? And so that's where it usually starts from, like, what do I want to wear? And then I start working from that. So I usually always start by drawing all the charts, and then I'll do all the math. So that means like calculating all the stitch counts for all the sizes so that I can see that my design idea translates to all the sizes. So from XS to 5XL. So I have to see that the cable pattern looks good on all of those. And only after that, I usually cast on. But I think one of the things that usually inspire me the most is color. Basically, when I see like a yarn uh, at a yarn event or shop or somewhere, like then I start to think like, what do I want to make of that color? And is it a hat, or is it a scarf, or is it a sweater? So I think the yarn usually tells me what it wants to become.
Right. Well, when it comes to designs, it's hard to come up with the design that's going to look good on everyone. Do you struggle with that?
I think it's something like sometimes I have had to give up on some ideas because it just
translate to all the sizes. So I just noticed that it would be impossible to grade it. Especially like if you have larger pattern repeats, you can't basically fit that on all the sizes. So then I'll just not do that. I'll just give up on the idea. But I think it's something I've been doing this for over 10 years. So it's something that you learn, you get better at it. You get more confident with it also. But of course, when you're designing, you're always working with just like estimates of bodies. So like even people who wear the same size, whether some are taller, some are shorter, like I have very long arms.
Right.
Like I usually I have to make my sleeves longer than what I write into my patterns. Like if I write the same sleeve length that I do, then people complain that the sleeves are way too long. But I just know that for me, I have to make the sleeves longer. So that's also something that you learn the more you knit. You learn your own body dimensions, and you also learn your own style. Like some people like to have their like sleeves shorter, like bracelet length, and some people like me, I like really like long sleeves. And yeah.
In the past years, you've been traveling a ton. You're teaching a lot of classes, which is
Yes.
one of the things we're gonna do in Costa Rica. You're gonna be teaching
Yes.
a couple of
Yeah.
classes.
Good.
Tell me a little bit how you got into teaching and what you love about teaching.
When I first started teaching, I kind of like felt it was something I had to do because all the other designers did it. And I've always been, I'm a very shy person. Like if you meet me, I'm a more of an introvert, and um, teaching was never something that like looking back, it wasn't something that I thought I wanted to do. But when I started teaching, I have noticed that I really like it. I absolutely love it. And the thing that I love most about knitting is kind of like the connection with the students. Like you get to interact with them. And I also think it has made me a better pattern writer, because then I kind of like see into the brains of other knitters, and I see how they understand things or what they don't understand, and what are the things that I need to explain better or in another way. So that has taught me a lot. And I also think like every time I teach, it's not just like me teaching people, but I also always learn something. Like somebody says that I usually always do it this way. And I'm like, oh, I never thought that you could do it that way. And it's always like, it goes both ways. And also like the students learn from each other. And I've seen people make friendships during the classes. Like you meet people and you start to talk to the person next to you, and suddenly you notice that, oh, you have a lot of in common, and then you exchange your like contact information and meet for coffee later. And so that's something that I really love about teaching. It's like you don't really get to spend that much time with other knitters, except like during the classes. So I really love that interaction. I started to teach like just before COVID. I had some classes in Finland, and I also had a couple of classes in London. And then COVID came, and I felt like everything shut down. All the classes were virtual classes, which I didn't want to do because I felt like too nervous about that, like not seeing the people who I interact with. So I stopped teaching, and a couple of years I started doing it again. And I think it's like the more I do it, the more I get asked to teach. And yeah.
Well, talking about the what you love to teach, what are you gonna teach in Costa Rica? Tell us a little bit about what you plan for.
Yeah, we are going to do a couple of classes based on my new book. So we're going to do two project based classes from this book. And because this summer knits, it has a lot of lace and different techniques like that. And we're also going to learn different methods of like binding off and making your knitted garments look like totally finished and polished and everything. So that's what I'm going to be teaching.
It's going to be super exciting because not only there are going to be classes with you, but we have a karaoke night. We're having a
Yes, I think we had a salsa dancing night that I'm really looking forward to that because I
right.
love dancing.
And then we're
Yes,
going on a ship around the coast of Costa Rica,
yes,
the sunset
yeah,
cruise, and we're gonna go to some nature reserve where we're gonna see monkeys and all different kinds
yeah, that's
of
going to
animals.
be
So
amazing.
I'm
Yes.
super excited. Well, when you're going to places like that, when you teach and you interact with people and you spend all your time there, because it's not just classes. Like what I love about
No, no.
you really get to hang out and you really get to
Yes.
know each other and bond. Do you feel like when you come back, you are supercharged from all the ideas and like inspirations that you get there? Or do you need like a month to rest after that because all the energy
I
is
think
after?
it's both. Like of course, flying from Finland to Costa Rica, it's a long flight and it's going to be like a big time difference. So that's also something that it's going to affect me. So I will be tired after that. But usually I feel like really buzzed up, like so all the energy from other people and the happiness and everything. It really like I feel like I soak it all in and I bring it with me. So it's usually when I work from home, I don't see any other knitters during the day. I only see my husband and my son at home. So I really love meeting the other knitters so that you kind of get feedback and also you can see how inspired they are. And I think it also like if somebody is really inspired about something, it's something that comes back to you and you start to feel inspired about that as well.
Right. And it's funny because you get to spend time with people who get you. They understand
Yes,
what you're
exactly.
doing. They understand the difficulty level of what you're doing.
Yes,
They just like your people. It's your
yes,
husband can only listen about your knitting for so long before they start like
that's true.
not making eye contact
Yeah,
and backing away slowly. But when you're surrounded by people that love the same thing that you do, it's a completely different kind of relaxation.
that's exactly true. Yes.
Have you been to Costa Rica before?
No, I haven't. It's going to be my first time. I'm super excited. Yeah.
My first time as well. So I'm
Yes.
beyond excited. It's supposed to
Yeah.
be absolutely amazing.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
have a
It
funny
looks
story for
beautiful.
you. So I went to Flock this year for the first time,
Yeah.
and I knew that you're gonna be there. So I was sort of you know, looking for you, trying to
Yeah.
find you in the crowd. And then a friend of mine told me, let's go have coffee. So we were standing outside in this coffee line for probably like 30 minutes. And the whole time I was like just complaining how hot it was. And is this line gonna ever end? And then I sat down with my cup of coffee and I saw this beautiful skirt. It was like lace skirt, and then I raised my eyes to the shoulders and I saw a beautiful lace top, and I told the girl that was with me, look at this ensemble. And I didn't even look at who was wearing it. I just saw it meeting. And then
I know where you are going with this.
I came home and I was on Instagram, scrolling through Instagram, and I saw Sari Nordlund signing her book in that exact outfit. And I was like, I spent 40
Yeah.
minutes standing right in front of you in that
Yeah.
line without knowing that it was you there. So,
Yeah.
it's funny how like we find our ways in the world of knitting.
Exactly. Exactly.
As I mentioned, you're also a YouTuber and you've been doing it for over 7 years, I want to say.
I don't know. It's been a long time. Yeah.
It was like
But I'm very on and off about it. I always get inspired to do it and then I'll just post a few videos and then there might be like a longer break. But we started just this like podcast with me and my friend Kika. So we started our own knitting podcast just because otherwise it's very lonely to do. Like it's really nice to talk to somebody. And if I do my videos alone, I'm just like here in my office and I'll talk to the camera alone. So I don't get kind of like the interaction of
Yeah, it's
having
much
another
easier.
person. So we started, we have our first video out, and we just a few days ago we filmed our second video, so it's coming soon.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
So we're gonna put that in the description of this channel. So if you
Yeah.
want to check out this new podcast or your old podcast, we can
Yes.
put it
Yeah.
all here. And also let's talk about the retreat and how people can register for it.
Yes. So the retreat is at the end of February. I think it's kind of like the last week of February. So I think it's at least in Finland, it's going to be very dark and very cold and dreary at that time of the year. So I will be super excited about getting the chance to go somewhere warm where there's like sun shining and
Yeah,
it's
it's
going to
gonna
be
be
nice.
beautiful. It's gonna be perfect
Yeah.
to get away from all the cold and
Exactly.
winter and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something that's going to get me over the winter to like dream about that retreat.
Well, you have the link to the retreat in the bio of your Instagram.
Yes, yeah,
And
yeah.
also
It's in
gonna
my
put it-
Instagram profile, so you can easily find it there. And I also have like a pinned post on my Instagram that has my upcoming events, so it's also over there.
So I hope you guys gonna join us in Costa Rica because that's gonna
Yes.
be super fun and educational, and we'll get to spend some time.
I think the favorite part for me is to get to just like hang around with people and connect with everybody. And of course, there are going to be classes, but for me, at least, it's the community and getting to spend time and knit with other knitters
In a
that
warmer
I'm looking
and nice
forward to
climate.
in the sun. Yeah.
So I can't wait to see you there. Thank you
Yes.
very much for being my guest today. And
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
I'll see you in Costa Rica.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Bye.